Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be talking about a philosophy that has really carried me through life, something that I hold in my back pocket that helps me find grace and compassion for strangers. And that is the idea that everyone that we encounter is doing their best, given their circumstances, the access to resources, their personal experiences, the knowledge that they may or may not have, as well as the kind of day that they're having. Essentially, this is about exercising compassion and grace to people, ourselves included. And I do acknowledge that within this, it's perfectly okay to acknowledge and to recognize that some people's best is just not good enough for you, which is why it's important to kind of find your own tribe, find your community, find a community that matches your best. And I think you know what I mean by that. People who care as much as you do, people who are interested in the same things that you're interested in, a core group of people that you know for a fact, no matter what kind of situation is going on, you know for a fact that they're doing their best and they're able to care for you in the way that you care for them. And I'm not talking about people who do exactly what you give to them. I'm not talking about transactional relationships. I'm talking about your core group of friends that you can rely on, right? So this philosophy is more like about strangers, people that you really don't know, because we don't know what people are carrying with them when we meet them. With your friends, you might have an idea because they tell you like, oh my gosh, I found out today that this person passed away or this person has been diagnosed with XYZ and I'm feeling kind of down. So you have a window into them. But I'm talking about strangers, people you don't necessarily get to know that about. I had dinner with a friend of mine earlier this week, Lizzie. She came over to my apartment and we had a beautiful conversation about various things. And one of the things we did talk about is about how often we feel very exhausted because we're always doing our best. And, you know, we were mentioning a few other friends in our friend group that always are doing our best. It's like a little bit exhausting, not a little bit, a lot exhausting. And so we were talking about how as we've grown older, we've realized that we don't always have to give 100%. Like we're not robots, you know, and that on some days 30% is good enough, 70% is good enough. And that has been something that's also been very helpful for exercising self-compassion. And I mean, self-compassion also includes, in the same way that you give compassion and grace to strangers that you meet, giving yourself compassion for the days that you're having a bad day or an imperfect day, that it's okay to exist in the world and to go through your day just as you're feeling. And I think that this idea of bending over backwards and like 100% and percentages, assigning a percentages to the way that we arrive in the world or the effort that we give is definitely, for me, tied a lot to school. Like I remember at school there was all these types of gradings that you got A, B, C, D, and then there were percentages tied to those grades. And I do remember that even though sometimes it was unspoken, at times it was spoken because of the different education systems like OBE and whatever that we got, that there were students that were considered A students. There were students that were considered B students or C students or D students. And there was a certain expectation that teachers had of them. I particularly remember one story or like an experience we had in high school of one of our classmates who got quite a good grade for accounting. But she wasn't someone who was known to be good at accounting. So as she was giving out all our tests back, because that was also like exciting or not so exciting, depending on what subject we were working on. But this was accounting and she got her test result back and she got 75%. And we were all so happy and excited for her. She was also excited for herself. And the teacher turned around and said, we're going to retake this test. You're going to retake this test because I don't believe that you got this mark. It was absolutely shocking. Like I remember we were all like, oh my God, why would you say that to her? There was a mini revolt in the class. We had a lot of mini revolts. We were little mini revolutionaries at our school in that class. And it was terrible because she actually did make us retake the test because she wanted to specifically prove to herself or show that the student did not do what that wasn't her knowledge, or it was a stroke of luck or something like that. And I just thought that was so disgusting. Like I can imagine that that's something that if you experienced that, if you were the direct recipient of that treatment, that's something that obviously leaves a sense of doubt about your abilities and just a horrible memory, you know, about what a teacher, someone who's supposed to shape you and guide you, said to you. And so, yeah, I think that this is about really being okay with moving through the world, not fully understanding what people are going through, and still saying, I understand and I choose to believe that you're doing your best. It's something that's helped me out a lot. Of course, there are days when I'm not thinking this, or I am thinking it and I'm going, but your best is not good enough for me today. I need you to dig deeper. I need you to try harder. But yeah, you don't know what that person has found out about, excuse me, or what that person is dealing with or carrying that day. At school, we used to have, because I went to a Catholic school for girls, we used to have this saying or a song, I don't remember if it was a song or a saying or a psalm, I don't know, one of those things, where essentially the concept is that everyone is carrying their own cross. Everyone is bearing a cross. And obviously they use the word cross because it was tied to understanding why Jesus carried, creating like a connection between Jesus' cross that he carried and the crosses we bear. But it's essentially that everyone is carrying baggage, trouble, trauma, experiences that were distasteful, baggage that are things that are weighing them down. And it's just about being kind and acknowledging that in the same way that you're carrying things, someone else is. So yeah, that's the end of my episode for today. I really just wanted to say that it's really important for all of us to recognize this shared humanity and to exercise compassion for each other. I hope you are able to kind of follow what I was saying, and I'm curious to hear, do you have any philosophies or things that you carry in your back pocket that help you move through life? What are those? I'm always curious to know. I have another one, which is trust people until they give you reason not to trust you, and that one is a hard one to kind of speak to because I think there are a lot of people who harm others. But yeah, that's another one of the philosophies that I move through life using, and I think it served me well for the most part. Anyway, I hope you have a wonderful day further, and I look forward to hearing from you all. Okay, goodbye.